This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, and this is 90 days. The amount of boxes, dark purple and light purple, are 80 boxes because it's 8 columns and 10 rows. However, there is another row, an imaginary, unseen row, but it's known as the 10-day twilight period, and it's identified as T1, T2, T3 up until 10 or 11, depending on the type of month it is, or sometimes until 9. Sometimes the Hebrew month goes till 29 days, sometimes the Gregorian month goes till 31 days. So whatever the end month here is, this 10 from 9 through 11 day period, 10 day or not, period, it's called the 10-day twilight period. So this is 90 days, and this is a 90-day calendar that renews itself naturally, obviously 4 times a year on the solar calendar, and roughly on the lunar calendar as well, a little bit less, but it's a solar and lunar calendar. It contains the Hebrew calendar and it contains the Gregorian calendar. This calendar has a lot to do with clock time and gematria and how they blend in. It's called the Gematriatic Thought Calendar, or the Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, or the Quantum Gematriatic Thought Calendar, because it is a tool that's used to develop the mind in the way of gematria. It's basically, I'm looking to discover something, a new method of learning, and opening up the mind to receiving much more information than simply reading the text or listening to a talk. It's the understanding of many numbers that can blend, can synthesize many different types of information in one composite source or one location that are being used by the numbers. They're being processed by the numbers, and not necessarily the information at hand. It's quantum because I feel that, at least in my understanding of the quantum idea, it's not exactly the thing itself. It's more about what the thing represents, or it's a part of the thing. And a part of the thing can represent the whole thing, and these different parts can all have their representative in numbers. I've seen different videos on quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and what I gathered from the basic principles of the quantum idea is things can be. There's a few different principles. I think superimposition was one of them. I can't remember the actual terms. But the general idea is that things can be many things at once. Things can be both yes and no at the same time. They can be both, let's say, a wave a line and a string at the same time, or what is it? A wave and a curve or something at the same time. Basically, it's kind of like for lack of a better word, a kind of a trippy way of thinking. It's a quantum. That's why it's a quantum thought. But at the same time, it's very, very logical because it's a gematriatic quantum. It's a gematria, and gematria is a very simple idea. Gematria, I think, many people relegate it to some kind of numerological game or just something that you do for fun. Or something that's cute. Okay, these numbers match, but gematria is really, from what I understand, as I've gone deeper and deeper into it over the years, there are some amazing things that I think have yet to be acknowledged by the greater mathematics community and scientific community. Proofs about language and the mathematical structure of language that I just haven't seen anywhere. I really have not seen anywhere on any YouTube video, and I've gone through many of these kinds of videos, educational videos, and they haven't really touch the forefront, basically the frontier of gematria at any serious level. I've seen some people, but like most people would consider them like it does. It looks kind of I don't know how to say it, like not professional. Like I would imagine the way someone might see this video. Someone looking at this video would see it's just kind of a homegrown, one guy saying something, and not a lot of views, and but maybe we're at the first stages of it now. Maybe it has yet to come through. But I've given many examples over the time, and I'll do a few right now just to demonstrate the mathematical phenomenalness. Maybe that's not a word, but the phenomenal nature of language when seen through a gematriatic point of view. So think about when you're hungry, there's something that you do. You go and get something to eat, and there's a certain thing that you look for to satisfy that. That's food. And this is very simple, basic, easy stuff and obvious, but just bear with me and you'll see where I'm going with it eventually. Then you take the food and you might want to warm it up or something. Then you put it on the table, and then you sit down on a chair, sometimes, many times, maybe most times, and you start to eat. But there are some few numbers there, that whole sequence that I just described, there are a few numbers that of the key elements of this talk, this mini talk I just gave, that match up exactly, without being one off, one less or one more. That is the number 40. Why? Let's have a look. Food. What does food equal if you apply the simple formula of A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, D equals 4, E equals 5. If you do that all the way until Z, then you'll get 1 through 26. Okay? Food. F is the 6th letter, O is the 15th letter, O is the 15th letter, D is the 4th letter. You add 6, 15, 15, and 4, you get 40. Where do you put the food? And where do you eat it usually? On a table. T is the 20th letter, A is the 1st letter, B is the 2nd letter, L is the 12th letter, and E is the 5th letter. If you add 20 and 1 and 2 and 12 and 5, you get 40. Then, when you're about to eat, you would sit down in a chair. A is the 1st letter, C is the 3rd letter, H is the 8th letter, A is the 1st letter, I is the 9th letter, and R is the 18th letter. If you add those numbers up, a chair equals 40. And I'm trying to remember now, I hope I don't turn it off, but if I do, then okay, good. The number fork is 50, so that's 10 off. Knife is 45, and spoon is 79. Okay, so it breaks down at some point, but my point is that if you'll analyze so food is 40. Putting it on a table is 40. And sitting on a chair, when someone sits on a chair eating food at a table, each one of those words equal 40. Now, I don't know about you, but how would you explain this phenomenon? The fact that food and table and chair all equal 40. How do you explain that? Would you explain that it's just a coincidence? That's just kind of random, interesting, neat coincidence, and it happened to fall into place that way? If you would say that, I would say, fair enough, it might be a coincidence. What if I were to give you 100 more examples just like that? Are they also just coincidences? Well, I don't know if I can give you 100, but I can give you quite a few just like that. But that's just to show you the phenomenal mathematical nature of language. And this can be done in Hebrew too. And I would venture to say that it can be done in any language. But my focus for this work is English and Hebrew. So this calendar, what it does is, and I'm doing a new thing, that this calendar will document and build gematria on a daily basis, based on the sun and the moon. These two boxes of this calendar are representative of the sun and the moon, the Jewish calendar and the Gregorian calendar, respectively. Okay? On the Hebrew calendar, today is the 9th day of Tevet. It is Monday, or Yom Sheni, second day of the week, 9 Tevet, 5786. The parsha is Vayechi, and the Daf Yomi is Zevachim 106. Yeah, 106. And it's a Daf Yomi calendar too. It's Daf Yomi, and there's a few more calendars, but so today, the 9th day of any month, because there's no names of months here, it's only numerical. So if you want to put a calendar, if you want to use it as a calendar, you have to plug in whatever calendar you're using. So if it's Hebrew, it goes in the sequence, and Gregorian, same thing. It's all going to be. So it doesn't make a difference. Any calendar in the world that uses numbers, and they all use numbers. So, at least most that I know of. And I'm not sure. I don't know of any calendar that uses letters to measure it. But anyway, and if they were, you could just convert it into gematria. So, but on the 9th day of any month, that means today's the 9th of Tevet, but on the 9th of January, guess what? It'll be in the same box. The 9th of April will be in the same box. The 9th of October will be in the same box. But notice how I said April, October, and July. I didn't say July, but I'm adding July. But I didn't say February, March, June, because those months that I mentioned, which are January, April, July, October, those who are familiar with astrology will know that I enumerated what they call the cardinal months. The cardinal months are a certain kind of month. You can look it up online. Just look up astrology, cardinal, fixed, and mutable months. Look those up and you'll see what I'm talking about. But any cardinal month in Dispensation 3, the 9th day will always be in box 26. Okay. Now, that's for Tevet, that's for the lunar calendar, but how about the solar calendar? Today is December 28th, 2025. I'm sorry. Today is December 29th, 2025. Monday, December 29th, 2025. And any mutable month in Dispensation 3 of the PL-89 calendar will always, without exception, always be on box number 21. Okay? Box number 21. So there's a few methods on how to calculate the gematria for the day. And for now, the method is that you take the number of the moon, which is 26. Oh, by the way, the coordinates are for 26 for the Hebrew calendar, which is 9. Box 26 is E9. Okay, and for the English calendar, it's C8. So the two numbers today are 26 and 21. And you add them together, that makes 47. So now, the way to calculate the gematria is 6 words per day that equal 47. And now the PL-89 calendar has done its job. The word time, banks, judge, force, then, and there's one more. Time, banks, save. Time, banks, save, judge, force, then. Those are 6 words. Is there a relationship between those 6 words? Each one of those words equals 47. In other words, in English gematria, the cipher I explained to you, A equals 1, B equals 2, the word time, T-I-M-E, equals 47. The word save, S-A-V-E, equals 47. The word judge, J-U-D-G-E, if you mathematically translate to a number using that cipher, all of those 6 words equal 47. And my question is there a relationship between those words? Now, I'm not saying there always will be. I'm going to look at them and try to get them as best I can per day. I think 6 is enough because I thought about doing 10 per day, but that might be too much. And I thought, 2 or 3, that's too few, too little. I was doing 1 a day, and that's just too little. I won't get anywhere fast enough. I was doing names. Like if I said John, that would equal 47 as well. But if I said John, okay, then what do I do with that name? I can think about what it means, but I found that it just wasn't expanding as fast or as maybe versatilely as I would like it to. In other words, the point of this is to see an array of numbers, and you can read the numbers as you read words. So if I saw the number 47, immediately what I'm seeing in my mind is, right as of today, 6 things. I'm seeing time, saved, judge, banks, force, then. Those 6 words. Can you see the relationship between those? I can see a number of relationships between a number of the words, if not all of them. The word time definitely connects with save. I mean, that's obvious. I think anyone can see that. Someone would be likely to. Time is something that a person might want to save. They want to do something in a different way to save time. Well, 47 would actually connect those. That would represent that idea, because they're the same number. Save equals time. But if I knew that those 2 words, and I know it now, and also now you know it too, that save equals time, then you might see 47 as save. You'll see this relationship in just a number without saying all of it. Now, where does judge come in? Judge. Well, a person would have to use their judgment on what would save them time. Time is something that you save, but only if you judge it, meaning if you interpret it correctly and you rule it out. You judge it correctly to save time. Well, guess what? Judge equals 47 too. How about the word then? The word then is very related to time, because then has to do with that time, like then. Like not now, but then. It could be in the past, or it could be sometimes in some certain senses, I think it could even be in the future. It is only then that you will realize. So sometimes it can be even used, but it's definitely connected to time. Well, guess what? The word then, T-H-E-N, equals 47 as well. Force you can see how it gets in there, because let's just say you don't have enough time. Then you might be forced to do something. Not enough time forces you to make a choice, to judge. So it forces you. And guess what? The word force also equals 47. So I think by now you might see where I'm going with this. That this calendar, what it does is it gathers all of these words and it puts them on the table, that they're usable now. Once I brought these 6 words forward, then I'll know that 47, like today, I picked 6 words that have a relatively close relationship. But it may not always be that way. It might be like soda, window, carnival, chemical, and then so they're totally not, they don't have to do with each other. But the challenge would be to see how they're connected. But I think that's really an explanation of the PL-89 Gematria Quantum Thought Calendar for today. Oh, right. One more thing that I saw, if you made it this far, a big theme is called the PL-89 Gematria Quantum Thought Calendar. And another reason why it's 89 came up just today. And it has to do with the 8th and the 9th day of Tevet. Because I saw in a lecture a shir, it's like a Torah class, they call it Torah class, given by Rabbi Daniel Gladstein. He talked about something that maybe not a lot of people are familiar with, but it's a 3-day fast. And he was bringing sources that the 8th, there are sources that bring the custom of fasting for 3 days, and I don't think anyone does that today. There might be a few, some, but very, very rare. But it's a 3-day fast in Tevet. Now, most people know about the 10th of Tevet, which is the most famous Jewish fast of this month, and many people know about it, Jewish or not Jewish alike. And that has to do with I think Nebuchadnezzar surrounding the walls of Jerusalem in the time of the first temple. However, he brought different reasons that were brought down. I think in the Megillah Tainus is it's a scroll of fasts. It's a book of all the different fast days, and they bring down some fasts that the 8th, it had to do with the Septuagint was written during this time, and the Septuagint, which is the Torah translated into Greek by 72 scholars, so rabbis in about 200 BC, and that was known as a sad day because they felt that the Torah is now can be used can fall into the wrong hands. Let's say that was the idea behind it. And then you have Ezra the scribe passed away at this time. But my point is that 8 and 9 are 2 fast days outside of what we know of the 10th, and 8 and 9, and those 2 concepts, because that brought into something else, because the chapter and verses, while it's not exactly the same, it's still kind of in the same topic. And this has to do with that. The chapters and the verses was asked in the class by Rabbi Yitzchak Breitowitz. They asked him who made the chapters of the Tanakh that we have today, the Bible. And so he was saying that the chapters and verses are made by a Christian source, which there's a lot of questions on that for me. Unanswered questions, let's put it that way. Because the question would be, in the age of the free press, anyone can print anything, right? So why would the rabbis today accept a Bible, and they use the same chapters, more or less? I mean, when it comes to different places, like it's off by one, sometimes it's off by a verse, but basically it's the same chapter, more or less. Why would the rabbi? In some places, it's exactly the same. Like in the beginning in Genesis, Exodus, it's exactly the same. Why would the rabbis, Orthodox rabbis, accept what they consider something that comes from an idolatrous source when they can just reprint their own? That was my question, and I haven't heard a good answer to that. And so I'll leave it at that for now. And that has to do with the Septuagint, and with and which has to do with this time, which is how 8 and 9 comes in.